Now, from the London Center in Phoenix, it's the Pat McMahon Show.
Well, the name of the company, Don Rice and Associates. So who would we have on to talk about Medicare and health insurance in general but Don Rice? Because we don't go after second and third level people. Don, welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Is Medicare a success or a failure in your eyes?
Up to date, it's been a success. Where it's going to go, we're not sure yet, obviously, because there's a lot of things on the table. When they first came out with the Medicare Advantage plan a few years ago, it was quite an economical way for people to supplement their basic Medicare. There's obviously the Medicare supplement programs that are out there by the insurance companies like Blue Cross Blue Shield or Mutual of Omaha, and then they came out with the Medicare Advantage plans, which are subcontracted out to the private industry, companies such like Health Net or Cigna, things of that nature. So it allows people to actually have a program in place that saves them money on the monthly expense, but also on the out of pockets while using the benefits.
I tell you what drives me crazy, among several hundred things. Liberally or conservatively stamping things or people as socialists, or this is this, or this is that category, or this is a Presbyterian plot, or look at who's taking over here. And I've heard that Medicare is a category of socialized medicine for the people who are saying you can't have a national health care policy because it's a socialized medicine concept. Isn't Medicare exactly that?
I would not say that. I mean, the folks that are on Medicare, they still have choices. They have choices of either just accepting their basic Medicare,
yeah,
which they can acquire at the age of 65 as Part A and Part B, and then anyone who's disabled for 2 years is eligible for Medicare if they're under the age of 65. However, they have choices at those times. They have Medicare supplement choices. They have the Medicare Advantage choices, and they have the choice of just taking their basic Medicare as their health care for after those years.
But Don, isn't it true that a lot of people who have made choices, not just Medicare, but who have made choices to not have any insurance at all for their health, they still don't have a choice about getting sick, and they wind up in a hospital or they wind up with some kind of medical care, and then the rest of the people have to take care of them, and that isn't our choice.
True, that's true. It's basically the way it's working. If people choose not to have any health care right now, that comes across a lot with your younger generation, the 20s and 30-year-old folks that are invincible, and then they feel I don't need health insurance for the fact I'm healthy. If something catastrophic happens to them and they end up in a hospital and there's these extravagant bills, then yes, of course, someone's going to have to step in and take care of those expenses.
Craig, quick close-up, thank you very much. For those of you who currently are in that demographic group, that age group, and you think you're invincible, you aren't. So I just want to leave you with that before you happen to have to turn off the television set, because you say, well, wait a minute, this is for old people. Medicare is just for the folks that only have a few years left anyway. How true is that?
It's actually, there with more and more people turning the age of 65 and obviously living much, much longer, it's obviously going to incur a lot more expenses and medical attention for those folks.
Is that why Medicare is broke right now or about to be?
That's one reason, yes, I'm sure it is.
What can be done about that? When I first started the conversation with you, I asked you if Medicare was a success or a failure, and you said that it had been a success. Well, it's a success in taking care of people's health that are a part of Medicare, and they've done a pretty good job with that. But when you look at the immediate future, it looks like a fiscal failure.
Yes, it's on its way. And that's why things need to be done, and things are being worked on right now. There's nothing on the table that's actually addressing specifics.
And so, since we have an insurance professional here, what should be done? I mean, they're kicking this around right now. Today, it came out of committee. As a matter of fact, that's so involved. I want to get back to the whole idea of what can be done about health care and what can be done to at least assist Medicare in continuing to exist in this country. And who better to ask than Don Rice when we get back, because then he'll have time to answer. It's the way we work around here at AZTV. Now listen, here's the abiding question for today. You have a health insurance professional on, Don Rice, of Don Rice and Associates. The question that probably can never be answered short term has to be, at least briefly, you're going to have to synopsize your views on what seniors should know. I know we're talking about an infinite number of things that they should know, but right now, the high priorities.
The high priorities would be for those folks that are on Medicare or are going to be eligible by aging in to the age of 65. They need to know and get educated on their options. There's many different options once they have. There's the open enrollment period, there's the annual enrollment period. They need to be educated because the plans change year to year. So what I recommend to anyone who's on Medicare is contact their current agent and ask for an annual review, because they have an option to change plans once each year, because with the plans changing, prescription drugs is a huge issue. Their network of doctors is a huge thing to take.
What changes are coming up?
For one, the Medicare Advantage plans, they're the HMO products. Some of those now, they used to be a zero premium. Now they're coming up and they're putting a small premium on those, which could be anywhere from $39 to $59 a month out of pocket for monthly expense. Then the cost coming out of pocket within those plans are increasing as well, because obviously with the budget and the way things are going, these things have to be compensated somehow.
You're a health insurance specialist. You're representing a huge, powerful industry. Can there ever be any kind of a national health care plan that is opposed by an industry as powerful as yours, or law, or the pharmaceutical industry?
Well, there's always the cliche, you can't please all the people all the time. So as we go through this transition, a lot of people are going to end up being unhappy and a lot of people end up being happy. So for the long-term answer, it's going to take a lot of work and a lot of discussion. Can it happen? Anything can happen. I'm a positive-minded person, so anything can happen down the road.
What are you prepared for coming out of Washington if there is some bill that eventually is passed, because you have, after all, the majority of people who seem to be either passionately in favor of or in favor of elements of national health care? So the Democrats have a majority. Looks like something's going to come out of Washington. What?
I honestly am not positive, because I think according to the disapproval and the approval rates of what were coming out a couple of weeks ago, it seems the disapproval rate of the public option seemed to be going up compared to the approval rate of wanting a public option. So what is a public option? Would you please just define that? We read about it and then nobody tells us. Well, I'm with you. President Obama mentioned the healthcare exchange. And to this day, I hear the term healthcare exchange, but I'm still not sure exactly what he has the healthcare exchange taken care of. I don't know if it's going to be a website. I don't know if it's going to be government officials that are the ones that are going to be actually offering the public option, or what. So in answer to your question, nobody really knows exactly what he means by the healthcare exchange.
Gee, that gives me a tremendous feeling of security.
And I live with this every day.
In an ideal world, would a national health care program simply be Medicare expanded to include everybody?
I don't think so. I still think people need freedom of choice. I still think people want to go to the doctors they feel they want to go to. A lot of loyalty is built up through their primary cares and their specialists, their hospitals. So I think a lot of people are still not going to want that national health care plan for that reason.
Well, when it comes down to all the things that Don Rice and his associates and the TV guy in front of you, all the things that we don't know about a health care program, I guess the best step is don't call me, and for God's sakes, don't tweet me either. Contact your insurance specialist or call Medicare and get some answers before you think you know what you're talking about. I'll be back in a moment.